Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. I did not do any, might have been enough, I don't know. Actually, let's just use all of them. I did not do any farming in between episodes. The game is being really loud. I'm not sure if that's just my headphones though. Anyway. Let us reinforce my longsword +3 to a longsword +4. This costs me 1,000 souls. And I have one large titanite shard, so that's all I can do.
I'll be around.
And then I need another 500 souls. Let's see how much this gives me. This should work perfectly. Right. Yep.
You would.
To make my fire longsword to +1. Basically, the upgrade level, you know, +1, +2, +3, blah de blah, of your weapon, that does not really require, well, that only requires the titanite, just the normal large and small and chunk and, you know, large titanite shard, small titanite shard, titanite chunks, all that stuff. And then that's kind of separate from the elemental or, I guess, special upgrade paths, like the fire longsword. I can upgrade that just normally to +1, +2, +3, as you saw. And later on we'll find the guy we need to change it to fire and all that stuff. Actually, I don't want to... Well, I mean, since I'm here, I'll open this chest. I don't think it's anything useful, but... Yeah, Crimson Palmer. I think that's a fairly weak shield. It might be good for parrying. Often the smaller shields are better for parrying because they have more frames which you can hit. So basically you don't need to... Your timing doesn't need to be as precise. But I actually wanted to go somewhere else first. I kind of forgot. Because right after the Pursuer boss fight, which we didn't do, but right after the location where his actual boss arena is, we will encounter something. And we have not technically finished exploring the Forest of Fallen Giants either. There's still a bonfire in there that I haven't even visited. But I don't know if I'll do that now or at some later point. Anyway, slide down here. And firstly deal with this guy. And notice how my shield now blocks 100% of damage. So I can actually block without taking damage. At least I can block physical attacks, which at least early game the majority of attacks are physical. I cannot block... couldn't block fire or lightning, for example. Let's actually check my equipment, because the Drang-Lake Mail is very heavy. Okay, I definitely can't equip that yet. If you come from this direction, I don't believe it's possible to pull these guys one by one. But with the new shield I have, I can actually deal with them quite easily. And I don't need to kill the Ironclad over there, so I'll just go this way. Okay. My sword is a bit stronger now, and I also have increased my strength a bit. So I should be able to kill these guys in 3 attacks consistently now. Okay, next you. I could kill him out there, but there's the other guy who would be firing arrows at me. And I have to admit, I don't enjoy having arrows fired at me. Says he and takes an arrow to the face. Which could have most definitely been avoided, but hey, at least I get some arrows back. I should buy some arrows at some point. I believe the blacksmith in Majula will sell some. Lenigrast, I think he's called. And since these guys are so distracted killing this or attacking this dead giant, you actually have a really easy time killing them. And give me that life gem. Nice. Now, what you can do here is you can examine this nest, which is very reminiscent of, well, Dark Souls. Except here you don't have to curl up and wait, you just get the cutscene instantly. I don't know, I think it was more charming in Dark Souls 1, but it is nice that you don't have to wait for half a minute before the traveling does trigger. And takes you to a new location. I will not go here properly yet, I'll only explore it for a bit. Basically until I get the first bonfire. But it takes you to the Lost Bastille, and hey look, I got the first bonfire. So yeah, not an issue. I will also open these chests, of course. I don't think there's anything really good in them, but... Actually, there is a dull ember. The dull ember is... It's what you need to basically make your weapons into these special upgrade paths. No, I want to go to Majula. So what you do is you need to take this dull ember and give it to a particular blacksmith, which we haven't met yet. But he's actually in the Lost Bastille, he's not too far away. And he will then be able to basically forge special weapons, so... And the merchant hag, the old woman where I bought the life gem, still isn't here. I don't know what triggers her moving to Majula. Maybe I need to talk to her some more. Anyway. I meant to say something. Yeah, if you give him the dull ember, you can basically make your weapons into special other kinds of weapons. You can change them a little bit, make them poisonous or bleeding or stuff like that. But these special upgrades require special upgrade stones, which I don't really have any of yet. But once we get to that merchant, we will also be able to buy large titanite shards in unlimited quantity. So he sells infinitely many of them. And that's kind of nice. Soul of a lost undead and a broken thief sword. Wow. THs are very difficult. But yeah, he will sell the larger shards, so you can use, well, you can buy as many as you like from them. And here we are in High Tower of Flame. Come along. Okay. Now, despite the fact that these guys are huge, as you can see, they're not actually that strong. I do decent damage to them. And this is one of the places where a major difference, or at least a fairly noticeable difference between... Actually, I'll just rest here. Restore durability and all that. But you'll see a fairly major difference between this game and the base game, basically. In the base version of the game, firstly you would not get these Hide Knights here. I'll deal with that guy eventually. You'd only get these sort of large stone soldiers. I don't know, they're not actually stone soldiers. I think they're called Old Knights. And the hammer ones are a bit annoying, because despite carrying a really fairly heavy weapon, they have very fast swing speeds and actually pretty powerful, but they also give nice amounts of souls, so they're actually quite a nice thing to farm. And that second guy I just killed, the one with the hammer, in the base Dark Souls 2 game, he would drop your first Sublime Bone Dust. And Sublime Bone Dust is used to make your Estus Flask heal more. So the Estus Flask shards basically improve how they give you more charges. So right now it's 3 charges. And the Sublime Bone Dust, you can burn this at the bonfire in Majula. And that will make it so that it's now a +1 Estus Flask. But I can't do that because I haven't gotten the Sublime Bone Dust. In Scholar of the First Sin, you only get it after defeating the boss of this area. So on your way to No Man's Wharf, basically, you can get your first Sublime Bone Dust. Killing this guy up here, by the way, opens this, or it pops up this mechanism. And if you pull this lever, it kind of makes the boss arena larger. And since I don't intend to cheese the boss by making him drop to his death, this is kind of... I will basically activate both of these switches to make it easier on me. Before I go over there, by the way, I will need to buy more arrows, because you can kind of see on that tower structure there, kind of freestanding, there's a red thing on it, which is a dragon, which guess you might be able to melee it, but yeah, not really. Okay, and this guy I want to pull away from the rest. He's the greatsword wielding kind. I really don't have much experience fighting them in melee. Because I always use spells on him on my mage. Okay. He only takes 4 swings. Now be careful, once you kill him, no matter where you kill him basically, the other 2 guys from that room will instantly aggro onto you at pretty much any range. And you will have to fight 2 of them at a time, which is fairly difficult. Killing one of them by itself is quite doable, but 2 at a time, problematic. And killing the greatsword wielding guy will make these 2 run after you. And they do follow quite a long way, as you can see. But once you see them break aggro, you can then fall back, or I guess, well... No, you have fallen back. Fallen back means running away, essentially. But you can then run forward again and go to their spawn location and kill them. And if you do that, they do not aggro. Well, the one that you're attacking obviously does, but they're not actually linked. They're only both linked to the... Nice, Paled Stone. They're both linked to the Greatsword guy, but they're not linked to each other, essentially. Paled Stone we will eventually be able to use to remove special attributes from our weapons, so... Paled Stone might make a... Oh, sorry, I bumped my mic there. For example, I could turn the Fire Longsword into a regular longsword using a Paled Stone. Eventually. I mean, I haven't met the NPC who can do that yet, but... it's not too far in the future. I just like going through this area first. Also, I did work out what's the issue with the Bright Bug. You cannot use a Bright Bug if you have summoned a Phantom. So, because I summoned Mild-Mannered Pate for the boss fight, that made me unable to use the... to use the Bright Bug. Okay. If they do that slow overhead slam, which sort of... It still has insane amounts of tracking, like all attacks in this game do, but it's rather easier to... Can I actually get the chest without killing the guy? I don't think I can. And these guys are no joke, they're actually quite strong. But yeah, the overhead slash stops tracking quite early in the animation. There we go. The Hide Knights are really, really fast. But yeah, it stops tracking mid-animation, so it makes it easy to get behind the guys. You cannot backstab them, but being behind them means they have to turn around longer. You basically get a larger window of opportunity to attack them. Now, I will use a bright bug for this fight. I don't know how long it takes to activate them, so I'll actually activate it before the boss fight. Okay, yeah, that does take a long time. It lasts for about 2 minutes, I believe, and supposedly it something like doubles my damage. And halves the amount of damage I take. Come on. Ow. Should not have tanked that. Ouch. I didn't roll fast enough there. Okay. So, remember what I told you about so many bosses being large humanoids? That's just another one. And he's ridiculously easy. You just kind of strafe him counterclockwise. Or, wait, you see, the problem for me, I'll just go on a tangent here. With clockwise and counterclockwise, I actually have to look at my watch, and it is actually clockwise apparently. So you just kind of strafe him. You go in the direction he's holding his weapon, so you don't go away from his weapon, you kind of strafe into his weapon, like this. Problem is, when I was a kid, we had a clock in our kitchen, which went the wrong way, or it went the other way. It's kind of a gimmicky thing, it's sort of a novelty item, I guess. But instead of going the normal clockwise direction, it went counterclockwise, which works just fine. You just have to kind of reverse the whole thing, and it functions just the same, just the other direction, basically. The problem is that I still have it stuck in my head, so whenever I think clockwise, counterclockwise, I have to really think about it, and remember the way our kitchen clock went, because that's the first real clock that I saw before I even had one of my own, like a wristwatch. And then I have to kind of think, okay, so that went that way, and so that's counterclockwise, so yeah. That's why it always confuses me a bit. Anyway, let's talk to this lady, even though we do not really want anything of her.
Are you from these parts? My name is Lycia. I have come to spread the art of miracles, a practice of which I am a disciple. I can see that you are well suited to comprehend their wondrous power. But the cost of it, that's for your heart to decide.
Okay, I'll just talk to her again.
I've heard awful rumors about this place, and I'm afraid they were all true. The king, gone. The earth, ravaged. The burden on the people weighs heavy. I fear that, by now, they may have scarce room in their hearts for miracles. Why did I come here? Well... do I need any other reason than to spread the gospel of miracles? My preceptor always said this art should be shared with the world. And such is my only wish.
She pretends to be kind and helpful and all that, but really she's just trying to scam people out of their souls. We'll see that at a later point. I might kill her, actually. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, let's talk to her again. Sadly, you have to exhaust her dialogue for her to move to Majula, so yeah, lots of talking. And I don't want to skip through it, but it's a bit boring.
Sometimes I fight the urge to pack up and go back home. It is... well, I must do this. and being out here all alone only makes this a more fitting test of my fortitude. I expected this cathedral to be bustling, but there's hardly a soul to be found here. Without any goings-on, I'll have to move soon. To a place I could help the gullible by teaching the good word.
Yeah. So, as you can tell, her intentions are not exactly pure.
I expected this without
Okay.
to a place. Sorry.
So that's all her dialogue. This will basically mean that if I go to Majula now, she will be in Majula. Well, she's on the outskirts of Majula, but she'll be there. And she will try to scam us out of souls as well. And she sells a sacred chime, which is kind of like the talismans. You use that to cast miracles and some sort of hexes. So miracles are always cast using the chimes, and sorcery is always cast using a staff. But hexes, there's some using a staff and some using a chime. She also sells a ring that increases faith. I think you get +5 to faith. And she does sell your first selection of miracles, including Lightning Spear actually, which I think is a lot earlier than you could get it in Dark Souls 1. Mostly you get healing stuff. Force, I believe, only does knockback, doesn't do much damage. And Lightning Spear, well, as you can imagine, you throw a lightning spear. But since I'm not going to do since I'm not going to do much, oh, what's his face? I'm not going to do much casting. I mean, I might get 1 or 2 spells, but not too many. Anyway, since I'm not really interested in that, I don't want to talk to her or buy anything from her at this point. Okay, so if you go down here, you will find a corpse. It just has a monastery charm on it. Let's actually see what that does. And I didn't hear any feedback on whether or not I should read out item descriptions. I think I'll just do it at some point. But, oh, I was going to check what the monastery charm does. I think it's here. That one? Yeah. Cures poison and restores HP. So, it's kind of useful. I think they have a long animation for using them though, so. And there we go. That's you defeated. Now, this bit here, this is just a human effigy and Dark Troches. I don't know what Dark Troches do. I think temporarily boosts defense against dark. Okay. First time I came here, I was playing online in my first playthrough actually, which as it turned, well, I thought, you know, you can always avoid invasions by going hollow. I mean, you know, playing at 90% maximum health is fine, but it doesn't work that way in this game. So if you play online, which is the only way to get any achievements in the game, if you're playing offline, you do not get achievements. Even if the achievement is just kill this or kill that boss, for example. Even if you kill the boss offline, you do not get the achievement. You have to be online, which sucks. But anyway, there was a bunch of bloodstains here of people somehow dying, and I don't know why that is. Because it made me really scared, and I was really thinking, okay, there's some kind of trap here that's not obvious to see, or that's incredibly well hidden, actually, because you can't see anything, but I just ran in here and nothing happened, so I think that was just people trolling, getting that knight to go over here, and then having that knight kill them in this location, so that, you know, there's lots of bloodstains and people get scared. I think that might be the case, I don't know, though. I'm not going to go too far into this section, by the way. But by going towards the next bonfire, oh, there you are. I will be able to trigger... well, the next bonfire is fairly easy to get to, and... it will get me... just a point that I can walk back to. And these guys there, the one I just killed, they are put as guardians in front of these chests, which now contain the sublime bone dust. There's 5 pieces of sublime bone dust each playthrough, which means you can max out your Estus flask in your first playthrough, because +5 is the maximum. And before, they were kind of scattered throughout the world. In the Scholar of the First Sin edition, they're in particular locations. Well, they were in the base game, but they're sort of... I mean, some random enemy might drop the Sublime Bone Dust, for example. A specific one, always the same one, but he might just be, okay, this guy will always drop you your first Sublime Bone Dust, for example. I explained that earlier, one of those great old knight things in the Tower of Flame would always drop you your first Sublime Bone Dust. Well, he would drop one. Might not be your first one, depending on the path you take. In this game, they're always in these special iron chests. They're not really special chests, but they will always be in those iron chests, and they will always be guarded by one of those guys, one of those knight things I just fought. Which aren't that difficult to kill, so... yeah. I think there's gonna be a few enemies around here. And there's a basilisk here. And of course, everything triggers simultaneously. Oh, don't want to stand in that mist. I think the enemies are immune. But if I stand in it for too long, I'll actually get petrified, which is... I've never been petrified yet, but I think it does exactly the same as Curse did in Dark Souls 1. You basically, as soon as, when that fills up, you're just instantly dead. Whereas Curse in this game is actually not as powerful, it just kind of... I think it just makes you go hollow without actually killing you instantly. Yeah, if we had a Fragrant Branch of Yore, we could open this. I think there's something nice behind it. We can get to that corpse up there, which is also defended by that guy. Don't know what kind of enemy that is, actually. Anyway, I don't have a Fragrant Branch of Yore, so I'll have to come back to it. And there's nothing in there. Don't know why they put that, actually. It's just kind of pointless. And this is the path to No Man's Wharf, which I'm not going to explore yet. Well, I'm going to explore the path, but I'm not going to explore the wharf. I'm just going to activate this bonfire. And then I will travel to the Tower of Flame. And I will actually... No, actually, before I do this, I will travel to Majula. Spend a bit of money on arrows, and possibly upgrading my bow, and maybe leveling up. I don't know how many souls I'll have left. Probably not very many. Okay, I still have some normal shards I can buy here. 4,800 souls is not too bad. Reinforce. Okay, I will reinforce my short bow. To +3, and I can still buy one more, so I'll actually do that. Now it's out, but I can reinforce my fire longsword to +2. Okay. But I think you also sell arrows, don't you? Yeah. Sell 50 iron arrows, which I'll just buy. And I do not want that many. Let's buy maybe 300 or so. That should be plenty for the moment. And then I can spend the rest of my souls on a few more levels. Oh, incidentally, if you don't start out with a short bow, this chest will always contain a short bow. So basically, as soon as you make it to Majula, you have some ranged options. And the short bow has fairly low requirements, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 7 strength, 12 dexterity, which is doable, so pretty much any character should be able to use that. Maybe not right away, but a few level ups and you will be able to take advantage of that. Now, I do want to improve my equipment load a bit. I don't care about attunement or faith, so it's nice that those stats are so low on this class. I'm actually going to pump all the levels I have right now into equip burn. I'm pretty sure I still cannot equip much of the Drang Lake armor. Can equip the leggings, but that pretty much already puts me towards quite a long way towards the maximum. Okay, so only thing I can wear without going over 100% then would be bandit armor or hollow infantry. I'll go for bandit armor. Okay. I wouldn't mind equipping the Drang Lake armor. I think that looked kind of nice. Let me just check. Yeah, you can see it. It's kind of nice, but it'll make me roll even more slowly, and I don't like that. So let's just go bandit armor for the moment. You know, nicer rolling. It's kind of handy. Anyway, episode is a bit shorter than the one before, but in between episodes I'll actually farm the Tower of Flame. Actually, I should show you before I go, so that you're not missing out on anything. So, if you already know the game, I'm only going to show the farming route, basically. There's maybe 1 or 2 item drops I'll get. The problem is, though, now that we've defeated... Now that we've defeated the Dragon Rider, the Hide Knights in this area will no longer be passive. Let's see if that one will come all the way down here. Because before he definitely leashes and does not come down here. But maybe he does now. Okay, he does. So I'll just have to pull him down here. Once again, get caught in the first hit of the combo and the entire combo hits you. Oh yeah, I should also probably unequip the bright bugs so I don't accidentally use them. They are very valuable. Okay, now I would love to know where the knight is supposed to be. Oh, he's walking up there. Okay. I don't know why he's walking up there. But yeah, once you before you defeat the Dragon Rider, these guys will sit around until you attack them. Once you've killed him, they will be aggressive, as you can see. So, if you're struggling with these, and I actually am, I don't find them to be very easy, especially in melee. I think their combos are kind of nasty. They're very quick and unpredictable. But yeah, if you're struggling with them, I suggest you kill all of them before you fight the Dragon Rider. It takes a long time, you need to kill them 12 times each or something like that. But they do drop decent amounts of souls, and Okay. And so it can be worth farming them. You will get a lot of souls if you clear out this entire area. And then you don't have to deal with the aggressive versions of them, because they don't get additional respawns or anything like that. They'll just be gone. Okay. And there, yeah, cracked blue eye orbs. I was going to show you those. They drop them quite a bit. I kind of need to go on a little further to show you the whole thing. I mean, there's not much to it, but... and you can fight this guy in there, by the way. I just like to have a head start on the two guys that will aggro onto me once he's dead. There's no real reason to pull him all the way back here, but it's what I do. Yeah, I feel bad for cutting out stuff anyway, but the farming is... Ow. Ow. Okay, so much for that. All that. La la la, I'll just take a sip. There we go. Did he just fall to his death? Oh, he did. Nice. Really, I just meant to retreat, drink a sip of Estus, and then re-engage, but... I mean, if he decides to suicide, I'm not gonna argue. Okay, but I feel the way I'm doing this right now, even with the aggressive Hate Knights, I think they're called Hate Knights, or that's how the usual English pronunciation is. Yeah, I think even though I have the aggressive versions of them milling about the place now, I should be able to do this without having more than one enemy aggro at the same time. Ow, it should have been a backstab, but it wasn't. That was close. His attack animation was already going by this when I started backstabbing, so... Yeah. Incidentally, this area is also home to the most annoying bit of fan service that I have encountered in the game so far. Without any reason at all, and without any even an attempt to explain lore-wise, they put a boss from Dark Souls 1 back into this game. He's just there. I don't know why, but he is. Just like, we wanted this guy to be here. Because, oh, didn't you like this guy in the first game? Hey, here he is again! The exact same enemy, and the exact same fight, and the exact same moveset. I mean, they kind of changed some lightning things to be now dark magic, but really that's just like changing the color from yellow to black. That's it. Aside from that, it is the precisely exactly same enemy. He's just put in there because people liked him in the first game, and so they thought, oh yeah, we're gonna put that in again. I dislike the fact that they did that. As you can probably tell, I am not a fan of those things. Okay, so with me still doing this, it probably has now become a normal length episode. Yep, I just want one of them. The problem is that guy does not get aggressive even after you kill the Dragon Rider. He's still just sitting there. And the point at which he aggroes is the exact same point... Ow. Is the exact same point at which the stone... I'll just call them Stone Knight. I know they're not called that, but... Ah! Fuck's sake. Oh, sorry. I did have my shield up, but it didn't count. Anyway, did not mean to swear there, just kind of... These guys are really unpredictable. Like, if you get behind them and start the backstab, they have an attack which basically, it hits right behind them. Like it does a full 180 and just that kind of sidestepping thing they do, it just hits you, even if you're standing right behind them. And they can do that pretty much without any warm-up. They just instantly spam it. It's kind of impossible to predict. I mean, if they do that 2-swing combo, then they can't do anything for a moment. But it's really, I find it's quite difficult to predict what they're gonna do. So they're, I don't know, I find them to be amongst the more annoying enemies to fight in this game in melee. See, now he did 2 attacks, and he still turned around and did his swing pretty much instantly. That thing. Okay, I was just about fast enough there. But it was close even so. But yeah, you've seen basically those 2 enemies over there, and then there's one more guy with a spear. I'll just clean these off camera and yeah, vanquish this place in its entirety, or at least I hope I'll do it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. We did get to see a boss fight, so that's nice. And yeah, I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.